Dear Russell, notable Latter-day Saint leader Marian Nelson served as the 17th president of the church. On September 9, 1924, he entered this world in Salt Lake City, Utah. His remarkable achievements in both his professional and religious life have garnered him acclaim and appreciation from people across the globe. Russell M. Nelson came from a loving and devout family. Marian C., his dad, is this guy. Edna Anderson Nelson was a diligent worker at home, and her son Nelson was a businessman. Having faith, working hard, and being loyal are qualities that Russell learned early on. His academic success and lifelong fascination with science informed his work. After finishing high school, Russell enrolled in medical school at the University of Utah. His success in medical school was obvious. He was a top student when he graduated from medical school in 1947 at the University of Utah. He continued his education and earned a medical degree from the University of Minnesota. Dr. Nelson's expertise and skill set were immediately apparent, even when he was a young doctor. By focusing on cardiac surgery, he rose to the position of leading expert. Dr. Nelson revolutionized heart treatment with his groundbreaking discoveries and had an outstanding career as a doctor overall. While he was a young surgeon in the 1950s, he collaborated with cardiac surgery pioneers. The heart-lung machine was jointly invented by them. He was well known for his expertise in cardiac surgery, particularly for pioneering procedures such as open heart surgery and the repair of heart valves. He also had an impact on future generations of medical professionals. As a professor at the University of Utah, throughout his career, the numerous accolades bestowed upon Nelson include positions as senior scientist at the National Institutes of Health and professor of surgery at the University of Utah. His leadership and expertise were much respected, and he was invited to speak at medical conferences worldwide. The path that Russell M. Nelson took to become a pastor was heavily impacted by his beliefs. Working his way up the corporate ladder deepened his commitment to the Latter-day Saints Church of Jesus Christ. He was a devout Christian from the time he was a young man till his death. Among his many roles in the church, he held the positions of bishop, stakehead, and regional representative. In 1984, at the age of 59, he received the call to be an apostle in the LDS Church. He began to have a significant impact on the global management of the church after being called to the quorum of the 12 apostles. His contributions to sending missionaries, aiding the downtrodden, and expanding the church's global reach were substantial. The LDS community benefited greatly from his extensive knowledge of health and church leadership. As a member of the Quorum of the 12, Elder Nelson was primarily responsible for exhorting church members to increase their faith, integrity, and service to others. He wanted to see people's emotional growth. Thus he spoke and taught from a place of profound compassion and understanding. The LDS Church expanded greatly under his leadership and outreach initiatives, particularly in Africa and Latin America. Shortly after, President Thomas S. Nelson will serve as the 17th president of the Latter-day Saints Church. He was able to perform his job as a spiritual leader with extensive knowledge of both practical and religious matters, and his choice also demonstrated his continued commitment to the church after all these years. As president, Russell M. Nelson has significantly altered the church's structure. The missionary program and the church's emphasis on aiding people around the world, for instance, have been altered by him. Throughout his tenure as leader, the church's emphasis on serving individuals and families and fostering greater unity among members globally has persisted. He has also stressed the need of seeking out one's own divine revelation and the importance of developing a close relationship with God. To allow more time for family prayer and personal spiritual development, he reduced the length of Sunday sessions, one of his most significant acts as president. Helping people, medical research, and religious liberty were among causes he championed. He spoke from personal experience as a doctor to stress the need of health maintenance to the congregation. Dr. Russell, millions of people all throughout the globe have looked up to Nelson, the cherished leader of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. However, he has, like all people, experienced periods of profound sadness and grief. One of the most tragic aspects of his journey began with the passing of his loving wife, Dancel. For many years, they weathered life's ups and downs side by side. They were each other's rock as they raised children side by side. Dancel was more than just his spouse. He was also his closest friend and constant companion. Russell's grief over her departure was profound and unspoken, and it burdened him greatly. Although his faith and job brought him solace, nothing could ever compensate for the void she left behind. Being alone was painful for even the most devout leader, and this was a time for reflection. A new light began to emerge in his life, despite his sadness. Russell finally met Wendy L. after a long separation. He felt an intense connection to Watson, a lady whose wisdom, courage, and strength moved him. After they tied the knot, she immediately became his source of solace and joy. Because of her deep faith and her desire to help others, Wendy understood Russell's pain. Being able to support and love Russell throughout his bereavement was the deciding factor, even though she had already experienced pain and loss herself. During their time together, Wendy became more than just a reliable companion. She became his rock and provided him with the wisdom and emotional support he needed to be a strong leader in the church. The emotional and spiritual burden of Russell's responsibilities was never too much for Wendy to bear. Even though he had many problems that were difficult to manage on his own, he could concentrate on his job because she was soothing and supportive, and he knew she would be there for him no matter what. Russell continued to serve as the church's leader and frequently preached about the value of spending time with loved ones. According to him, Wendy was his rock, as no one else could relate to his struggles in life and work. She was the one person he could confide in about anything, lean on for support, and discover true joy with. They gracefully dealt with the pressures of public life and relied on one another no matter what. When Russell experienced sadness again, Wendy remained there for him no matter what. The fact that Wendy Watson Nelson revealed a major cardiac condition that required coronary artery bypass surgery in the 1980s is well known. However, no indicators of chronic or deadly diseases, such as cancer, have been detected. The president of the Latter-day Saints Church is still going strong at the age of 90 as of 2025, and he continues to be quite active and fulfills his responsibilities to a surprising degree. He mentioned his highly successful return from heart surgery as a defining moment in his life. Rather than focusing on physical health, Nelson has prioritized mental health and developing resilience to face life's obstacles. His belief that individuals can get through tough situations through faith, prayer, and service forms the basis of much of what he teaches. His broken heart was helped to mend by her quiet strength and her ability to comprehend him. She listened without passing judgment and offered words of wisdom and consolation that only an intimate friend can provide. Wendy was his rock, offering him hope and love through thick and thin, career and life alike. Being in a relationship taught Russell the meaning of sharing life's highs and lows with someone who can make you feel better no matter what. In addition to the solace he found in his faith, Wendy's nurturing presence was by his side during all of his trials. They demonstrated to one another the value of being supportive in times of joy and sorrow, at work and in life. Through love, sorrow, and strength building, their story exemplifies the transformative power of compassion, empathy, and belief. Russell M. received unwavering assistance from Wendy. Thanks to the strength and love that his family, faith, and friends provided, Nelson was able to overcome the darkest hours of his life.